Hello, I'm Richard Ridge. Jonathan Larson's groundbreaking musical, Rent, which went on to win every conceivable award, including the Tony and the Pulitzer, is back in New York, once again directed by Michael Greif. I'm here at New World Stages to introduce you to the new company of Rent.
Was able to ask Jeffrey right away if he could imagine bringing back a reconceived production. And he asked, what did that mean, really? And I said, well, like a revival, we wouldn't change the text in any way, but we'd imagine a different physical production and perhaps reimagine some other aspects of it. You know, I think probably at the very beginning we spoke about a desire to include a little more of Mark's filmmaking as part of the show, maybe see some more aspects of that. And I was also anxious to stage the play in a new setting. I thought that minimalist setting had served us extremely well, but over the years and looking at it, I really wanted the opportunity to be able to specify locations in a way that we didn't do the first time around, and just get away from some of the Rent conventions. What this group perhaps needed more of, although this is true of the last groups that did it on Broadway, is they really needed a course on what New York in the early 90s was like, and specifically what an HIV positive diagnosis meant, before the cocktail, even, before even people knew what AZT was about. I mean, this was written in a moment when AZT was just being prescribed and people weren't sure exactly what effect it would have, and some people were responding well, some people were not. So, I mean, we talked a lot and watched a lot of things about, the late 80s and early 90s.
And I got a call to come in and to, come in and audition for the creative team of this new Off-Broadway version, a second glance at the show Rent. And I was like, you kidding? I'm in. I think I was about 10, and I have this memory of on my early pizza box Macintosh computer listening to the score with a soccer friend of mine, and for me really that score defined what it means to be a young musical theater performer and a contemporary musical theater performer, and it really spoke to us. I felt like the score was speaking directly to our generation, and so I was so proud it made me really proud to be a theater person. I've been lucky enough to have been a part of original productions, and this is not an original production. Not a lot changed as far as the script, the text goes. So it was challenging in some ways for me, because I felt like, there was a certain frame, that we lived in. But Michael Greif was unbelievably gracious in letting us kind of explore the outer territory that he hadn't even yet seen, to kind of feel what it would be like for a new generation. We're all of a different generation speaking the same words, and what point of view we would have about it. And I think that there's wisdom in that, and Michael Greif was open-minded enough to allow that wisdom in. So in some ways it's been thrilling to be a part of, feeling like you have an impact on a piece that you thought was already, established.
I play Roger, who kind of begins the show with a lot of obstacles. He has HIV, he is broke, he just lost his girlfriend, he is a recovering heroin addict, and his one thing in life is to write one great thing that will live on after he's gone. And this girl comes in and flips his world upside down, and he doesn't know what to do with it. And in the end, he discovers that she's that thing. She's that thing that he is searching for. It's about heart, and it's about love, and it's about people, and we as human beings have all kinds of obstacles, and they might not be as dire as some of the characters that are in the show, but we all do. We're all human, and we all have struggles, and I think the show shows that we need to overcome those struggles with love, and that's the only way we can. And so I think everybody around the world recognizes that.
I never came into this experience thinking, oh, well, everybody's just going to be in love with the original. I came in with a really open mind and fresh, and having done it before, I was just open to it. I felt like when I first got the role, I was 18. Who are you at 18? You barely know who you are. This character, when I saw her on stage, she just like portrayed all this stuff, this girl that I had inside of me, and she kind of allows me to bring her out of me. When this, she's just so spicy and Latina, and that's who I am. But she allows it to be okay. But then she's fragile at the same time, which is, I feel like I'm naturally like that also.
One of the most interesting things about working on a revival and the reimagining of a show is re-examining a text that people know so well. So to do that with Michael Greif has been invaluable, not only for us as actors, but I think for the piece and the production as a whole. He's been so extremely generous in his reimagining of what could be, and also looking at the text to find other directions to go. And I'm so grateful to have gotten the chance to work with him. He's, one of the greatest directors of the American theater right now. There's a couple things that make this show so special to audiences. The first thing is the message. It's love comes first and love wins all. And I also think it's about a group of underdogs who fight their way to the top. New York is a place that everybody comes to find and make their dreams come true, and this is about a group of young people who are doing just that.
I think one of the things that attracts me the most to Joanne is her power and her ability to kind of navigate and control situations, and also to affect people and help people at the same time. I think she has two very strong sides. One of them is this power woman, lawyer, intellect, and the other side of her is loving and caring and giving, but she's not gonna take crap. And I think I'm very attracted to those two elements.
It's amazing. I never thought in a million years that I would get a chance to work on something as big as Rent. Rent is huge. It reaches out to so many different audiences, so many different people, out there. And I never thought that I would work on a project that's this iconic, and it happened. So I'm just soaking up every moment and just living in it, because it's a wonderful production. Angel, I tie Angel very close to me. We're similar. We're very similar, aside from wearing the heels and the dress and stuff. Our personalities, the way we love, the way we connect with people, the way we live our lives on the edge, because we know that tomorrow isn't promised.
Well, the connection with Tom Collins, first of all, was that he was a educated black man. And he was somebody that truly loved and didn't need to carry around a gun. He didn't need to, be a rapper. He was just truly a lovable character that it didn't matter whether he was black or white or Latino. He was somebody that truly loved, and the music that he sings is just it's from the gut. There's nothing else. You can't sing it from anywhere else, otherwise it won't work. You don't need to speak English to understand this. You don't need to have lived during the heart of the AIDS epidemic. It's about loss, and it's about love, and it's about living each day to its fullest. And I think that's something it's beautiful. It's really beautiful, and it's a very general theme, but yet very specific. And that's why, it crosses language barriers. It crosses all types of barriers, because it's not just about these people or these iconic figures now. It's about real people dealing with very much heightened everyday situations, but there's still nonetheless everyday situations that you go through.
I'm playing Benny, and what I love about him is that the fact that I get to go into him in a different way of how am I this guy? Which is, for a lot of people, you're like, well, why? How are you this villain? Who wants to be? But actually, I don't see him as that. I see him as this guy that's really, in a sense, it's just like you and me. He wants to get paid. He wants to have a great life. He's doing these things. He's trying to help his friends out. So in this way, he has these needs and wants just like everybody else does. I was talking to my friend earlier, and I was thinking about it. I was like, I have a line where I'm like telling a bum to get off of my Range Rover, and everybody's like, oh, how could you do that? And it's like, if you think about if you had a Range Rover and you looked out your window and saw a bum sitting on it, you'd probably be upset and tell him to get off of it just the same as he would. So in that fact, I feel like he's really misunderstood, and therefore I have something to come from. I have reasons for what I'm doing besides just being this asshole. Excuse my French. And then then I have an arc to go, because then I realized that my life has been completely materialistic, and that I've gotten caught up in career and in money and in this power and things like that, which a lot of people need to hear that message as well, kind of a mirror to society, and say that, what I really need in my life is love and friendship and family. And the reason that I come back to the East Village all the time is because that's where I have that true sense of it.
I told the cast at the very beginning of the meet and greet, I said, I've just come from my sixth graders moving up ceremony, and the fourth graders sang Seasons of Love, including the Grace knows every cup of coffee. And I just said, this is a show that everybody owns, and so for you to reinterpret it today in your own voices is wonderful to see, because I think like La Boheme, which it was inspired by young artists finding their passion against all odds, whether it be physical, emotional, economically, and build their community. That's what New York is. New York is a place everybody comes to find their voice and be an artist, or whatever you're going to do. You can do it in New York. It's that place where you can build community, and by doing Rent, hopefully we're allowing a whole new group of theater goers to build their own community.